So you guys read the thumbnail right and the title. I got into Harvard with a 2.8 GPA. Here's the GPA, and then here's the email. So I want to tell you guys about how I got into this, but I'm getting to a better position real quick. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kentaro Sajak. I'm 18-year-old F-up, for the lack of a better term, and I am probably the number one worst person to be going to Harvard. I mean, you guys saw the 2.8 GPA. I am fairly certain I am the lowest rated accepted student into Harvard. And there's a lot of things that go into it. There are videos that are coming out in the future that are from the past that also help explain how I got into Harvard. But the big thing is that I got into Harvard not because of my grades, but because of my application, and specifically the program that I applied for. So I want to get into business. I'm an entrepreneur, and I failed time after time after time again. For those of you who have been following my journey for a while, thank you. For those of you who are new, thank you for coming in. But basically, last year I had the absolute worst year of my life, and it was so bad that because of a traumatic event, or what I'm going to label as a traumatic event, I published a book weeks after this traumatic event, because of this traumatic event, way before it was ready to be published. And then I did a TED Talk, and now coming up here in a few weeks, I'm going to be publishing my second book, which is going to be free. There's no sign up to get the link. It's just when it launches, I'll post another video about it. I basically go over in my first book. The first book is called Teen Success, but I talk about my failures. And then after that, like, it was a garbage book, in all honesty. It was a terrible book. But the reason I did that was because it got the ball rolling, and I felt like if I didn't get the ball rolling, I would be stuck forever. And it was absolutely right. After I got that book published, I got in touch with a couple of people who I consider my mentors, for the lack of a better term, today. Because they do mentor me. It's just, mentor is a little bit of an overused term now. But after I published that book, I got onto a TED Talk because of my various experiences. I've done so many different things. I mean, you can go back to the catalog on my YouTube videos and watch that kind of stuff. I want to tell you guys the hard facts of how I got in, which does include what I've been doing for the past year. So after that, I went on to Harvard after all the experiences, and I looked at what are some programs that I can apply to, just because I know for a fact I'm not getting in. With a 2.8 GPA, I'm not getting in. But you know what? Screw it. I somehow got on a TED Talk. I somehow published my first book, even though it's self-publishing, it's a whole thing. How is it bad to just throw in my hat? If I threw in my hat to do a TED Talk and I gave a TEDx talk, like, that is mind-blowing. So I decided to throw in my hat into something, and I obviously did my research into all the programs. And the program that I got into, which is HUTVSP, is a program based on entrepreneurship and tech startups. I got into HUTVSP, and I was really excited. Again, here's the email. I am so proud of this email. You have no idea. What shocked everyone was just like, everyone thinks that I'm smart, and I got into Harvard, and people it now reinforces that I'm smart. Because when I did the TEDx talk, people thought I was smarter than when I published the book, which people thought I was smarter than when I was talking to them about business and how to set up a business and all that kind of stuff, because I love it. So it's just these compounding factors that, even though on a book scale, I am one of the dumbest that you will ever meet, I somehow published a book, did a TED Talk, got into Harvard, and the reason I got into Harvard is just by researching what plans there were, and the HUTVSP doesn't go off of merits. It goes off of if they see potential in you, if they see that you're willing to put in the work. And out of everyone in the HUTVSP program, which we're 9 days in now, everyone who I have met are amazing people, and I can see great potential. Now, are all of them future business people? No, not even close. I don't consider half of them to be future entrepreneurs, but that's not a bad thing. They select people who they know they can place bets on. Harvard does. And I guarantee all of them will be successful, because in this program, there's so many people who are doing so many amazing things, and I cannot stress enough how amazing the people are. And so, taking this into your guys' lives, I'm not trying to flood HUTVSP by having a load of people apply, but at the same time, I kind of want you guys to apply. If you guys actually are willing to go through the process of making yourself better, of wanting to learn and wanting to improve yourself, both in a business sense and a personal sense. I mean, just today, which I know one of you might comment on, don't worry about it, you don't need to comment, I'm not going to call you out. But I just set up 2 people from the HUTVSP program today in a relationship. And I told them both this, and I'm like, I am sick and tired. This is the 3rd relationship I've set up this year, and I want to not have to set up relationships. I want to be in a long-lasting relationship. Why? But like, these are high school kids. Now, if you're beyond high school, there are post-graduate programs that you can pay about the same amount of money for in order to do those, and those give the same effect as this program. But the way that you need to look at it is, most people are like, oh, you're going to Harvard for a bachelor's or a master's, and you got in with 2.8. No. You can reframe how you talk about all these different things, because I can talk about going to Harvard for an internship, or I can say I went to Harvard for an education. Or just say, I went to Harvard. And you don't know what I'm talking about, so you assume I went to Harvard for a degree. And of course, I do plan on applying to Harvard for an actual degree, because this opened my eyes to what is possible. If you would have told me 4 months ago that I would have gotten into Harvard, I would have told you to F off. I would have told you that you're dumb, that there is no way. And keep in mind, this is when I was about to give my TED Talk. And I'm like, there's no way I can get into Harvard. Now, if you told me last year that I was going to do a TED Talk, Harvard, that I was going to a little over a year ago, that I was going to release a book, I was going to tell you, you're flat out crazy. Like, I'd been talking about releasing a book for a while. I'd been talking about doing a TED Talk for a while, but there was no true belief behind that. And it was just like, well, I told people I would, so I'll apply, and then I'll upload a video or something to YouTube saying I applied to 200 programs. It's because I'm just not good enough. But the truth is, if you don't apply, then yeah, you're never going to be good enough. But I know I'm not good enough to do a TED Talk. But I'm about to do a second one. That might be a spoiler, but yeah, there's an announcement coming up from that. I got into Harvard's program. I wrote 2 books. I'm about to publish my second book. Also, spoiler alert, I wrote a 3rd book, which is coming out later this year. But like, there is so much going on, and I am not good enough for all of this. That's the honest to God truth. But I do it anyway, not because I'm not good enough, but because I have the opportunity. Because the opportunity is just the $35 application fee, which for those of you guys who are like, oh, well, I want to get into Harvard for free, there are costs to everything. If you can't fester up $35, then you really aren't trying hard enough. And I get it. You have school. You have extracurricular clubs. You have commitments that you can't back out of. You can get $35 from somewhere, I guarantee. Like, it's a $35 application fee, and then there's a undisclosed amount. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. I'm not allowed to show you any videos of the program or really talk about the program itself. But it's an amazing program is what I can say. We've been learning a lot about startups, and I've talked with my community and my internship, and it is just absolutely amazing, and I can recommend it to anyone, especially if you don't know any business terms, because they start from the ground up, and they have workshops that also take you from the ground up, but there are workshops that take you from mid-level up. There was a workshop that I did yesterday where it was only me and a few other people. Like, we understand leadership in a better context. And so we got through the entire lesson in half an hour, and then we spent the last half an hour asking him questions about Harvard, about how he got here, about the program, stuff like that. And here's something that this program leader told me, is something that I've been telling you guys. Most of the people in Harvard do not expect to get into Harvard. There are some few kids who are Harvard geniuses and plan to go to Harvard since they were 2 years old. But the majority of them never think they can get into Harvard. The majority. So, throw in your hat. Out of 60,000 applicants, they choose 2,000. But you can apply at any time. Well, quote unquote any time. There are time frames. But like, there are 8 billion people on the planet. Let's be so conservative and say 6 billion people are adults. 60,000 apply. So that is 1% of 1% apply. 6 billion, 60 million, 60,000. So yeah, 1% of 1% of Earth's population apply. What if we doubled that to 120,000? Now, it'd be more competitive, but twice the amount of people apply, but it's minimally more people on Earth. So if you apply to Harvard, you're already in the 1% of the 1%. And I applied to Harvard, and I got in. Now, do they count this for their acceptance rates? I don't know. But the fact that I got in, the fact that I'm doing this program and we're 9 days in, and I can confidently say that, like, just through the connections I've had, that it's worth the money that I've spent. Yeah, apply for it. Go for it. If you look up, there's HUTVSP, and you can go to Harvard's entrepreneurship program. They have it listed. Look for their medical programs if that's what you're looking for. Look for their law programs. Look for any program, really. And you can probably find something that's either Harvard, Stanford, Yale, anything. It's just, you got to go for it. And I know that's not really action-based, and that's more, just do it. Here's what I've done, just do it. The truth of the matter is, you're never going to know unless you try. And I never thought that I could. And I still don't believe that I'm here, but I am. And to be honest, after last year, my self-esteem is so low. But my confidence has gone way up. Because I define confidence as the reliability on the actions that I take and the fact that I will succeed. That's confidence. Bravery is confidence of something that you're unsure of. And then self-esteem is just the feeling of knowing that you're able to do it. In terms of, I feel like I deserve this, or like I know that because of the actions I took, I deserve to be here. I don't. I'm confident in whatever I pursue in the terms that I'm going to pursue it well. I'm going to be very brave, but I may not have self-confidence. And that's okay. But you just gotta apply. And if you don't know how to find these opportunities, you legitimately look up Ivy League colleges. Look up the field that you want to go in. And if you don't know a field, I recommend taking business courses, because you'll always need to know business. Or figure out something that you like doing, something you have fun with, and then search up the programs that they have that are summer programs, that are, programs in general. And I promise you, if you apply to them and you take more shots on goal, you are going to make more goals than you think that you ever could. It's just most people never even try to kick the ball into the goal, which is why they don't have the confidence that they can score a goal. YouTube thinks that you guys would be interested in watching next, so I recommend you watch it. This is my TED Talk, so if you guys want to just look at the TED Talk, there it is. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.